Hi everyone, this is Isla from Easy Allies. You know that, you're on our channel. We are in the midst of E3, but I got to play Terra Nil.
Yeah, which when they first sent it to us, it was like secret untitled game reverse
Right,
city builder.
right. And then
Uh,
3 days later, they put up a trailer, and then it wasn't in E3 at all.
so far,
Just
yeah.
like, what is your strategy with this game? Um, but strategy is the word I wanted to focus on because in the gameplay demo I played, they said it was about an hour long. I finished it in 35 minutes, but
Okay,
there was way more strategy to this game than I thought there would be. So what it is it's a reverse city builder. So what that means is you start with this destroyed wasteland, and what you're trying to do is return nature to the wasteland. And what you
got
do
it.
is you
Yeah, because I was like,
put
I didn't see a city anywhere. So yeah,
right. So what you're doing is, I mean, yeah, who knows? I don't know if there's further lore or if later you'll have to remove like ancient structures or what. But like in the demo, it's just like a desert kind of wasteland, destroyed area,
the
polluted area,
terraforming kind of thing.
and
Yeah.
you're kind of terraforming. Yeah. So what you do is you start with a windmill, so you're using wind power, and then you put like toxin removers
Mm,
around, and
okay.
you want to try to like put them as far apart from each other so that you get the maximum amount of space, the maximum amount of soil cleansed using one power thing. And power can only go on a stone tile, and then the toxin removers can only go where there's power. And so each thing has like a little,
Got it.
it's kind of hex based, like it just shows their little range of influence. And then what you can do is once you have the toxin removed soil, you can put land kind of irrigators on them, and those shoot water out in a certain pattern. You can rotate it, and it goes through L pattern and then a straight line pattern that rotates. And then that grows grass
Okay.
on that land, but only on the non-toxic land, right? So basic thing is put a power windmill on a rock, detoxify the soil, put an irrigator on there, get grass, right?
Yeah.
So then it keeps introducing more and more little elements like that, and that's kind of the core loop is stuff like that. There's an order of operations for everything. So
Yeah. It seems like you then like get more vegetation, and then eventually you
right.
get bigger trees.
Right.
Yeah.
So like the next thing that you can do is put down a kind of like a water pump, and that gives you a river, which puts grass on the sides of the rivers. Then you get like an incinerator or something. I can't remember what it was called, but that turns grass into stone.
Oh,
But
okay.
you want to be careful because it has an area of influence. It's not huge, but it's definitely there. So like you can lose grass to get stone because you need stones to put the power.
Right.
So you have to like put water in the river so you can get grass over here because grass grows by the rivers automatically. And then you need to turn some of that grass into stone so you can put power, but you don't want to turn too much grass into stone because you're eating up all your space. And then you put detoxifiers down, et cetera, et
Yeah.
cetera. So
Well, and
then,
I
yeah,
saw too that the fire seems to spread. I don't know
right.
if you can
So
tell how much that's going to happen, or
the whole area. So like, yeah, you're jumping the gun a little because the next thing is biomes.
yeah.
So the first task in the demo was to get the land to a certain percent of just green. And then you have to get biomes. And so there were 3 biomes represented. There's forest, there's flowers basically like prairie, and there's wetland. And so to get prairies you have to put a beehive in a tree. And there
Okay.
are some trees that are there, and they're like dead trees, but once you get grass around them, they become alive. So you can put a beehive in that. And then the wetland you have to put on top of an irrigator or whatever, but only within a certain range of a river. So there's another unit that you can use that is like a gun that shoots, like carves a river in a straight line, a riverbed in a straight line that's dry. You have to then put water in it with another pump. But the catch for that is that pollutes the land around itself
Hmm.
in a certain range. And you can get a thing that can upgrade and make those smaller, and stuff like that, and increase the range of detoxifiers and stuff like that. There's also like weather modification stuff that you unlocked at the end, but I didn't have a reason to use it that I saw, so I just didn't mess with it. But yeah, so the beehives make prairies. They make flowers go around. Then the wetlands you need to put next to water. Makes sense. Forests, you have to have flowers and then build a sun-catching thing to harness the rays of the sun into a beam to then ignite a little like tinderbox unit that burns. But you can only put that in flowers, I think. So then that will burn from my playthrough, it burned that entire area. So anything that wasn't delineated with a river got burned. And so you can only forest on the burned stuff. You can only put the arboretum, the forest thing, on a burned down old building that you had. So you need to like burn the area to build a tree thing, to build a forest on the ash soil. So everything has that requisite before it. Forest was one of the more complicated ones because it has like 5 requisites basically, because to get ash land, you need to burn flowers, have the thing to burn, have the sun thing, have grass there, etc., and plan ahead so you don't burn your whole damn like place down. The currency that you use is basically like leaves. It's like nature. I don't know what it is, but it's like, yeah. And so you spend that to put down buildings, but you get them back the more green that building causes. So you can see when you're going to place a building down, there's a number above it. If it's red, that means your net loss of green, and if it's green, you're gaining however much it says. So it becomes a task of trying to get the maximum number for everything. So you're trying to like lay everything out so that you're filling out everything as much as you can, not only to greenify the whole planet, but to get all that and the maximum amount of resource back for everything you do. Does that all make sense so far?
Yeah.
Okay. And it was a lot more strategic than I thought, because you have to... I can see how later levels, pretty quickly even, early levels, are going to get pretty complicated, because there are a lot of limiting factors, there are a lot of things you have to do in a certain order, and you have to do it all without running out of resources. Then at the end, to clean up the whole thing, because you might think to yourself, okay, but aren't we here to like renature this planet? The way I'm doing that is like by putting buildings all over the place. Like, what is this? This is just a city builder. Then the last step of the process is the cleanup. So you can put silos that recycle every building in a radius. Then you can put these like water kind of like loading docks on rivers that will suck up anything in their radius. So you kind of have to leapfrog silos if they're too far from the water, because you can like silo a silo that's full and then silo that into another silo. But each one of those costs money. It costs like 50 leaves or whatever. And then you make a little raft, a little recycling drone that it's like a boat. And that goes on the water to the loading docks and loads it up and then decommissions the loading dock after it's used it. And that's what you have to do for everything. To go up and down waterfalls, you have to build like a lock to raise it up, which is also a building, which then also has to be recycled. So you have to do that in a certain order, and you have to like leapfrog the things down, you know, to get to the thing. And all of this is in service of building an airship to then lift the boat back out. And then you have cleared the land. And something that I really loved, a touch I really loved, is every new biome that you put down has sound that comes back when you have it. Like the wetlands, like it'll become more robust and you'll hear this wetland when you have it built. The forest has like wind and you hear
mosquitoes
it. Yeah. You hear just how miserable it would be to be down there. And little animals show up. So in the wetlands, there are these cute little frogs, and fish show up in the rivers and stuff, and deer show up in the plains and the grass. And then Huber, shout out to Huber, I thought of him immediately. In the forest, a bunch of bears showed up. We didn't notice those right at first, but they were hidden amongst the trees and stuff. And yeah, that's basically the demo. You kind of have to just do a lot of stuff, plan it out, fit everything together with the shapes of the areas of influence, do it in the right order, and then get out of Dodge with as much green left behind.
Hmm.
It was quaint. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how you're saying like it's the land is toxic, so that
Mhm.
there's definitely that element to it. I'm curious. Yeah, I'm curious whether or not we will get into places that were
Yeah.
more developed and
Lore
more
and stuff.
structures and stuff like that. And yeah, like okay, how did it end up this way?
Right.
Yeah. Was there any
Nothing-
sort of a story, or is it just
Nothing
mechanical?
was
Yeah.
nothing was stated in the demo. The demo kind of just dumps you into a tutorial, but like the first thing you put down is a toxin remover and you're using wind power, right? So it feels like and like the tech is high. Like this tech is really futuristic that you're
Right.
using. So yeah, it definitely has a vibe like this is way later and you're cleaning things up. At the very, very end of the demo, after we beat the level, it zoomed back out, and you see a bunch of other continents on this planet,
Mm,
and one of them had what looked like a crater on it.
got it.
It could have been. It was like built up though, so it could have been an old volcano. I don't know. But yeah, it's possible that this, and I mean, I assume the implication there was that these are the other areas that you'll go to and try to fix up, and they're like bigger and harder and whatever, more difficult. But yeah, I got the impression that like something bad happened on this planet, and we're here to try to fix it. But who knows? That's conjecture.
Cool. Yeah. It's a neat looking game. Very like sharp and a lot of detail and
Yeah.
all the pixels and stuff. So
Yeah, you can zoom in pretty close. It looks really good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
nice. Thanks for checking that out.
Happy to. Bye.